We're beside the lake and beneath the trees of Wordsworth's country, across from where Beatrix Potter wrote of Peter Rabbit, and just south of where John Peel used to hunt with hounds. But what on earth would they have made of powerboats? To tell us about this race, John Reed, the organiser.
Well, we've always wanted a race up here. It's an ideal setting for a big powerboat race, and the drivers had always wanted a race on here. The desire to have a race has always been. And this year it just became possible. Everything came, the sponsorship came, the help came, the officials were all there, and it just happened.
The yellow flag is up on the starter boat, and they're away in the biggest speedboat international ever on Lake Windermere. It's a 3-mile circuit, and the field will be sorted out in the end by the number of circuits made in the next 3 hours. The winner will take home the Duke of York Trophy, a piece of solid gold valued at £6,500. The boats are handicapped in classes based on past performance, but the real interest is centred on the top class, the ON, the Formula One of water sport. The engines in this class are not restricted to size, but are usually 1600cc with the odd 2-litre, and they're capable of well over 100 miles an hour. It all adds up to the most dangerous sport imaginable, because the causes of accidents are outside the driver's control. It's all a matter of keeping a safe angle between hull and water, but you can't anticipate lumps of water or eddy currents. The parallel is a big hole appearing in the track at Silverstone. It was while Bill Shakespeare was altering his angle that his boat turned over and killed him a few minutes before the end of practice. Listen to a driver, Roger Jenkins.
It's getting now to the state that car racing is already. We are now getting to the state that we have to jack off. We're running very, very fast. We have boats that are capable of going faster than the driver is capable of handling them. I can't tell people exactly how fast we are going. If you multiply it by 3, I think that's a fair assessment. To travel on the motorway at 100 miles an hour and to travel on a boat, it just doesn't even rate. You haven't got any time to correct the mistake. I explained to you that if you go car racing, every time you go around the corner, you have the same road, the same conditions. Everything is exactly the same every time. You can drive a boat around the marker buoy for 6, 7, 8 times, and the 9th time, all of a sudden, you've got such a great big hole. You've got crosswinds that blow up. Every mortal thing is different all the time. So you've got no brakes. You've got nothing. You've got to read that water and drive it within the capability of what you honestly think you can get out of it. As you're going into a headwind, you control the height of the boat and the amount of air that is going into the tunnels by your result. If you're running at ON in the top class, you go in. You've got no time to correct whatsoever.
And that was certainly true of this boat, number 7. She came a cropper in the wake of a small cruiser. I can see the driver, Cardio Tees of South Africa, stepping onto the rescue boat, understandably the image of a very shaken man. But the race goes on. Drivers hope that they only need one stop at the pits during the race, and that for refueling. The facts in this growing sport are enough to make anyone dash out to buy shares in petrol companies. Each boat starts with 30 gallons on board and stops once to take on another 25. Just think of using 55 gallons to drive from Leeds to the south coast. But these highly tuned machines only do 4 miles to the gallon. The accent in the pits is on speed, and a fast stop can take on 25 gallons in as many seconds, and that, as far as the race is concerned, adds up to half a circuit. Fuel consumption is calculated in gallons per hour because there are no fuel gauges, principally because no gauge would stand the hammering, and even if it did, it would be unreadable with all the bouncing. But the inevitable does happen, this one just 50 yards from the pits, but oh, so far on water. The design of the propellers is a big guarded secret. Molinari's boat is launched each time with them covered in rags, and the rags are always replaced before the boat is pulled out again. But it's still a matter of, "Come in, number 9, your time's running out." And one can imagine the few well-chosen words he's using to describe his pit management. His one wish is to get back into that race even though the wind is fresher and the boats are flying. There's number 5 come to grief after being in second place behind Molinari. His engine has pulled the back off. But there goes Molinari, the Italian, the strong favourite before the race, and barring accidents doesn't look like being beaten. The checkered flag, a welcome sight for the 13 left from the original fleet of 26. And Molinari is streets ahead of the rest of the field and wins comfortably. And this man deserves all the appreciation he's getting from the crowd, Renato Molinari, and this after 88 laps, 264 miles. An Italian, and he has what might be best described as a fortress on Lake Como in Italy, where he's built the reputation of being the leading hull designer in the world. And what a way to take second place. This is Woodmarine of Britain with a 2,000-pound engine and winding up with a paddle and the backing of the crowd. The magnificent Duke of York trophy, solid gold worth £6,500. Used to be the Premier Award in European powerboat circuit racing. It's been in the bank safe since the war, but competed for today with the permission of the Queen Mother. Now look at these dramatic pictures taken by a photographer at this meeting. This is what can and does happen when things go wrong. Just watch again in slow motion.